with Doc session. If we haven't met before, my name is Dr. Linda, emergency medicine physician, tuning in here from Sheffield. And I'm here with my amazing co-host, Dr. Erica, a GP from the West Midlands, and we are both board-certified lifestyle medicine doctors. And this is exactly why we are here every single Sunday at 5 p.m. UK time, so that we can bring you. We are both board-certified lifestyle medicine doctors.
Sorry,
and this is exactly why we are here every single Sunday at. Well, you see, technology sometimes gets in the way while it's helping us to get the message out on evidence-based lifestyle medicine, where we can actually help our patients to prevent and even reverse chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and even some lifestyle medicine cancers such as breast, bowel, and prostate cancer. Also, we are talking about mental health as well as loneliness, and we offer you the community, the coaching, free coaching, and education so that you can transform your health. Now, today we have an incredible guest whom we have been really excited to bring you for the last year, Chris Freer, who is going to talk about multiple sclerosis and his incredible story on how he has been able to go from wheelchair back to a normal lifestyle and get himself off of medications with lifestyle changes. And this is a shocking story that must be shared.
So as Linda said, we have Chris Freer with us today, and Chris has lived with the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis for 20 years. And at one point, it really was very debilitating for him. However, when he learned about and made changes to his lifestyle, he was able to take control of his health and well-being. So welcome, Chris.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. Thank you.
You're very welcome. We've been really looking forward to this, and we connected over a year ago to line up this interview. So here we are finally.
Yeah, all good things come to those who wait, eh?
Absolutely. It's incredible to have you with us. And we would love to give our listeners and our guests here on Zoom a little bit of a snapshot of your health journey and what are these amazing changes that have happened to you.
Well, for me, I mean, I feel now absolutely that I'm in control of my life, my health, and my well-being through the choices that I make. I thought my life had ended, really, to be quite honest with you, and now I've dedicated my life. My passion is to create for as many people as I possibly can a different outlook on life. You know, it is absolutely what I've devoted the rest of my life to. Encouraging people to look at the choices that they make and how that's going to affect, or, you know, in a good or bad way, their health. You know, the reality is we have a chronic an explosion of chronic conditions in Western society now, haven't we? And for me, and I'm not a medical person, you know, I'm not medically trained, but I believe a lot of these conditions that are out there are controllable. In fact, I believe we create them often in the choices that we make in life.
That's not what you always felt, was it, Chris? I think
Absolutely.
Before you thought, you know, if you did fall ill, it's the doctor's job to fix you.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to be quite honest with you, before my diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, I thought I was Superman. You know, I was a businessman. I've been a businessman all my life, really, and I was at that time. I had 4 pubs and a couple of clubs on the go, so I had quite a busy work life. But I thought I was Superman. You know, I thought illness happened to someone else, and if it did happen to me, well, I'll go and see my GP, and he'll fix me, won't he? You know, he'll give me a tablet, he'll, you know, do whatever it is, and then I can go back to what I was doing before. How wrong I was.
The magic pill that all of us think in the Western world that exists for every ill, there's a pill. Chris, to sum up your medications before we go deeper into the story, what medications were you on, and did you get off of them?
Okay, so when I first got diagnosed, I was immediately put on a drip, and I can't remember how many milligrams it was, but it was a huge dose of a steroid called methylprednisolone, I believe, of which I've had on my journey. I've had many infusions of it, but they also put me on a disease-modifying drug called Rebif, disease modifying, and they told me that this drug would slow down the progression of the condition, and it probably wouldn't start to affect me for 20 years, to go off, and you'll be okay. And I was taught how to inject myself, which I did 3 times a week religiously. But actually, it didn't seem to work. I seemed to be getting worse. But yeah.
And how fast was your progression, and where did you start and where did you get to?
Okay, so I was diagnosed in 2002, and in 2008, I was told I was secondary progressive. So 6 years.
What does secondary progressive mean to you?
Secondary, right? So in the stages of MS, there's benign MS, right, where you have an episode and it doesn't come back. Mainly, most people get diagnosed with relapsing remitting, so you can become very ill, and then you'll have a remission, and you to all intents and purposes you feel like your normal self with a slight bit of disability. Then there's secondary progressive, where you've always got the condition there in the background. It's the disability that you have is with you all the time, and it progresses slowly. And then there's another one called, I know there's different types now because they keep on adding in different labels for this condition, but the other one's called primary progressive, which is quite a quick. I don't like it. I mean, I don't even think primary progressive is the same ill, because it really can rip through people very quickly. Yeah.
And you were secondary progressive, which meant what for your mobility?
Well, I was told when I was secondary progressive that there were no disease-modifying drugs for me. So I was taken off of that. I was recommended to take baclofen, gabapentin, pregabalin, and those sort of drugs, which I'd taken in the past. And I didn't really get on very well with. I didn't like the side effects, and I opted not to take them because the side effects were sort of the same as the symptoms that I was experiencing a lot with the condition. So I decided not to take them. And I was told that the condition would just progress for me. And because of an incident that I'd had happen a year previously, and I was still transitioning from depression, really. I think my neurologist told me that in his opinion I would be in a wheelchair by 2012, and the sooner that I accepted that, the better it would be for me mentally and physically.
Ooh, that's a really difficult thing to be asked to do, and basically remove your hope and ability to do anything for yourself except take the medication and get on with it, accept what's going to come. So in 2008, you were in secondary progressive states. At this stage, were you using a wheelchair?
No, not then. I was using sticks, but not. The only time that I would use a wheelchair would be, and funny enough, it was my eldest daughter that forcefully suggested it, if you like, because if we used to go out on a family day out, and I remember a time we went to, I think it was Chesington or Thorpe Park or something like that, and we got my daughter got me a wheelchair because people didn't have to wait for me, you know. I really did not want to use that. I really didn't want to, but it made the day go better. But no, at that time, I wasn't using a wheelchair very much, no.
And when, just as a summary of this few years since diagnosis, when were you able to come off of medications?
Well, like I say, all medication was stopped in 2008. You know,
Okay.
that wasn't my, I mean, the baclofen, the gabapentin, the pregabalin, that was my choice. But disease modifying drugs were withdrawn in 2008 because at that time there was nothing available for secondary progressive. Yeah.
Right.
Is that answered your question? Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's have a look at the lifestyle changes that you needed to like basically discover for yourself to be able to go from secondary progressive disease in MS to living your best life now. So let's rewind a little bit and start from the beginning.
Okay. Well, you want me to say what happened to me from 2002?
Yes.
Okay. So as I've already said, I was in the licensed trade and you know, I had several pubs and a couple of clubs. And I did used to go to my GP experiencing weird and wonderful things happening to me for quite a few years. To be told that the things that were happening to me were all due to stress, really, you know, and I did used to work stupid hours, you know, and I'm saying that to a doctor, really. I mean, you know, you guys have to work really hard, don't you? But, you know, I didn't have a particularly good lifestyle, if you like, but I had all these weird things happening to me, you know, that I couldn't explain. And I was told that they were stress. But in 2002, I became very ill. And in fact, I was so ill, I got carted off to hospital in an ambulance. And that kind of set me on the road to discover what was actually wrong with me. I'd moved house and I'd been released from hospital and they said, go and see your GP. And I went to see this lady and she will always be like a goddess to me, right? Because it was the first time I'd ever met her, you know, and she sat me down and really took time with me and talked to me and listened to me and checked me out. And she said to me, she said, look, you know, there's definitely something wrong with you. Can you afford to go private? And I said, yes. And she put me in touch with a neurologist privately who set about all these tests. You know, I had the MRI scan and they found lesions in my brain. I had the obligatory lumbar puncture. And then I was told that what he'd found was that I had multiple sclerosis. And he said, you know, you're relapsing remitting. You're going to be okay. There are drugs that are available that will slow down the condition for you. Whatever you do, Mr. Freer, he said, don't go and look at Dr. Google because what you'll find there is not what you're looking for. Right. And of course, that is exactly what I did do. I went to Dr. Google and I just started to find all these horror stories around this condition that I'd just been told I had.
And when you were still in the hospital and the doctor broke the news to you that you have this condition called multiple sclerosis, what did that mean to you?
Well, it scared the life out of me, to be quite honest. I mean, it scared the life out of me. That's the only way I can describe it. It scared me to death, really.
And was it really explained to you what the disease was,
No.
how it came about, what it would mean
No.
to your life?
No. I got directed towards the MS Society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're a great organisation. I really do think they're a great organisation. But unfortunately, what tends to happen at the events that the MS Society has is that you tend to find people that are a lot further along the journey than you are.
Mm.
And that actual experience becomes extremely frightening as well.
Yeah.
Because you're going into a room, seeing people in electric wheelchairs, not even being able to drink out of a cup, and for someone who's newly diagnosed, it's scary, and it also reinforces all of the messages that I was getting from Dr. Google. It was a very scary, frightening time. Yes.
And was the message essentially there are drugs that can slow down the progression, yes, but other than that, there isn't anything else you can do?
Oh yeah, no. I was told that the drugs these disease-modifying drugs would slow down the progress. It was incurable. Yeah, and hopefully there will be a cure found.
Right. And what did this mean to your life, your work, your family?
Well,
and also your mental health.
It sent me into freefall, to be quite honest with you. What happened to me happens to many people that are diagnosed with these kind of conditions, But my first wife, she, unbeknownst to me at the time, but she started to engineer her exit from the marriage. I was ill, and I was becoming consumed with anxiety. I probably wasn't a very nice person to be around, actually, and I'll openly admit that. And my first wife started divorce proceedings against me, and I suppose the turning point for me in this story that I'm telling you here was 2007, and I'd been removed from the family home. I wasn't living with my family anymore, and I was living in a room, funny enough, in one of my pubs that I'd rented out to someone, and I was living in a room above my pub. And I woke up one morning, and it was a really beautiful day, and it was beautiful blue sky, and I woke up, and I don't know really what happened, but I just thought to myself that this is a beautiful day, and today is a really good day to end my life, because no one's going to miss me. I'm not benefiting anybody being here, and I'll go out and I'm gonna end my life today. And I went out, and I absolutely tried to do that. And the way I chose to do that was to select a lorry coming down a dual carriageway, and I was going to hurl myself under the front wheels of his lorry. But the thing that saved me that day was compassion, believe it or not. And it wasn't compassion for me. It was compassion for the lorry driver. Unfortunately, I caught his eyes before I was about to jump. And I suddenly thought, what is this going to do to him and his family? What is this action going to do to him? And I hesitated, and I glanced off the side of the lorry. It hurt, believe me, it did hurt, but I didn't go under the front of the lorry. And as I lay on the grass in the middle of the road, I felt this, oh God, this huge wave of guilt came washing over me at that time, because all of a sudden I thought, why did I have compassion for him, and I didn't spare 1 second of thought for all of the people that I have around me? You know, I didn't believe anyone would miss me. But then I thought, I've got 4 amazing children. What would this have done to them? Why didn't I think that? You know, and none of this, everything that I'm telling you, none of this happened overnight. I didn't wake up the next day and I was, you know, this is, and I'm still a work in progress. I am not cured. I am still a work in progress, but it started there. It started there, and I got sectioned, and I got put on. I think it was citalopram for a couple of weeks, but it just didn't sit with me. I didn't want that as an option in my life. I wanted to find out why I was feeling like this. I wanted to examine what was going on in my head, you know, my belief system and everything. And I wanted to find a better way to create a better life for myself. You know, I'd hit rock bottom, absolutely hit rock bottom. And it dawned on me that, you know, solid rock was a great place to start building new foundations for a new life. Yeah. And that's where I started from.
And I mean, that was very difficult to hear, your experience, but also the way you're looking at it it's amazing that, you know, you said before we started the interview that it was a really bad day for you, but also a really good day for you that day.
Yes.
And so from there you were sectioned, you were put on an antidepressant for a short period of time. And then what sort of help did you receive or support did you receive with regards to your mental health on the background of this incurable neurological condition?
Okay, so when I got released from hospital, I got released, I think they called it then care in the community. Mm. And I had someone from the mental health team. I had access to them by phone. I had someone come to see me. I think it was actually on a daily basis. But in all honesty, I didn't want that pathway. I wanted to find a different pathway. I didn't want the antidepressants. I wanted something else. You know, I didn't know what it was, but I knew that I had to find a different way.
Did you find that different way?
Yes, I did. Yeah, absolutely. It's taken time, but that's why I'm so absolutely thankful for you guys giving me this opportunity to tell my story, because this is what I'm about now. You know, this is what I'm about. And yeah.
So what was this different way then? Share with us.
Okay. So what a milestone for me, really, I suppose, was that in 2008. So it's a year after I've tried to end my life. My neurologist, I'm now under the NHS, he ordered an enhanced MRI scan for me because I really wasn't doing very well, and you can imagine why. You know, I wasn't doing very well, and he got the results of that, and he said to me, "Look, you know, we've found more active lesions in your brain. You are now secondary progressive MS, and there are no disease-modifying drugs available for me to give to you to halt the progress of this illness." He said we can give you baclofen, gabapentin, and pregabalin, all drugs that I'd experienced, but we cannot slow the progression of this disease. In his opinion, I would be in a wheelchair by 2012. And he said, you know, look, it would be a good idea for you to accept that fact, you know, bearing in mind what you've been through already, and go away, live your life, and I'll see you in a year. That was it.
And at this point, what sort of things were you, if any, were you struggling to do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, cognitively, you know, I had very little memory. I was struggling to walk. I would fall over a great deal. Cooking was interesting, and I basically all everyday tasks were difficult for me. You know, and bearing in mind, I mean, I have skipped a lot of my story, but I'm now divorced, and strangely, one by one, my children came to live with me. So I had that, and that was a godsend as well, because obviously I had, you know, but so I had my children as well. But I was researching and looking for alternative ways to deal with this illness, because, you know, when you get these moments in time where it's like a lightning bolt that hits you. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was doing some research, and I suddenly thought to myself, I didn't catch MS. I can't give it to you. I can't give it to anybody. No one can catch it from me. I didn't catch it. And I suddenly thought to myself, I think I must have created this condition within myself, within my body, you know. Yes, I do follow some of the disease models, if you like, for development of MS. So I did have glandular fever in my late teens. I have had the hepatitis B vaccine 10-year booster. Some say that might be a precursor, but mainly like the glandular fever, I had it in my late teens, and they say if you have it in your late teens, potentially you can go on and develop in your early 40s, which is sort of my disease model. I was also a milk monster as a child. I used to drink copious amounts of milk. And the first thing that I did to change in my lifestyle, if you like, was I cut dairy out of my diet completely. And I am still bovine dairy free, which is cow's milk. But that was the first thing I changed. And I also started to follow the Dr. Roy Swank diet, which had been going for about 40 odd years, I think, which suggested that you reduce the amount of saturated fat in your diet to under 20 grams a day, but get as low as possible in the first year and cut all red meat. Yeah. Which I did, you know, and just slightly, I started to feel slightly better. Yeah. I wasn't going to give up. There wasn't any miraculous, wow, I feel magic, but I did feel a bit better. You know, cognitively, I started to have a bit of a clearer mind. I was remembering things and stuff like that. Yeah. But all the time I'm researching about diet, exercise, and mindfulness. Yeah.
And Chris,
what made you? Oh, sorry, Linda, you go.
No, it's all right. Besides the diet, there's also quite a bit about the Western lifestyle that you also incorporated. A lot of work, stress, lack of sleep as well, through the stress element that didn't only come from the disease, but also from what we are seeing in our own lives as well. And I think a lot of people can relate through our current economical drive of how to live. And that life nowadays is defined by our financial achievement almost solely. Did you feel that you were kind of ramping up this mentality as well, that you think has affected your inflammation and that could have affected your MS progression as well?
I definitely did live by that rule 100%. You know, your achievements were only measurable by the amount of wealth that you have. But believe me, when you get diagnosed with an incurable condition that no amount of money is going to fix, you start to have a different outlook on life. Yeah, you know, and I started to realise that I only needed enough, you know, to pay my bills and stuff like that. But because, like I say, it doesn't matter how much money I've got, I can't cure MS, can I? Yeah,
definitely not with money.
Definitely not with money, no.
And
I can't cure it with what I'm doing now. You know, I'm not saying that I'm not cured. I live with it. I proactively live with it. In fact, I live happily with it. But I live with it. I'm not cured. You know, and one of the things that I would love to say at this junction is that anybody that's listening to what I'm saying, please believe me, I am not ever suggesting that you don't follow the advice of your health professional, okay? Always follow the advice of your health professional, but open up a dialogue with him or her about other possibilities, other opportunities that you might be able to investigate to create a better health for yourself, you know? Yeah.
I would love to take this opportunity to have a look at those dialogues and what they could be looking at. As with evidence-based lifestyle medicine, we look at 6 pillars. And I think all of these 6 pillars through our Western lifestyle and also with your lifestyle has been affected, as have been the case with me and Erica, and what we see with chronic diseases overall. One of them is, of course, diet, and we have touched on it. And as Dr. Sari Stancic has shared, she has had the same experience, and we see it more and more, that a whole food plant-based diet where we cut out or decrease our animal products, but also not so just reduction, but the most important, increase our fiber intake. And we have been seeing a huge improvement in chronic diseases. So always focusing on addition of fiber, which is very important. But then what are the other pillars, Erica? What are the other lifestyle pillars that we are looking at? And maybe, Chris, you could mention how they have affected you and your disease.
Okay. I mean, I've had the pleasure of speaking to Dr. Sari Stancic as well. What an amazing lady she is, you know, amazing. For me, I think I am mainly plant-based. Okay, I do eat a bit of fish. I occasionally eat a little bit of meat now and again, as long as it's coming from an organic, reputable source, but mainly plant-based. I sleep really well. I've cut alcohol out of my diet. I've cut sugar out completely. But one of the things that I would like to see in the pillars, if you like, was I discovered love.
Yes.
Initially,
You're certainly part of that, where the community and love can actually be shared, because without it, our lifestyle changes, cannot happen, because it happens in an environment, doesn't it, Chris? Also, it happens with those who we love, and they have to live it with us. Is that something, when we look at the pillar of community and social interaction, is that something that you felt have added a lot to your stress reduction, thus improving
yes.
your multiple sclerosis?
Yes, because number one, and I'll go back to that day that I tried to hurl myself under a lorry. You know, I kind of was wondering, why the hell did I have compassion for the lorry driver and I had no compassion for me? And it set off this exploration in my mind, if you like. And I actually discovered that I'd never loved myself ever. You know, I'd never really felt loved in my childhood. And I started to believe in myself and you know, not in a sycophantic way, but I started to practice self-love. You know, look, I've got to be the best version of me that I can possibly be for all the people around me. You know, and in 2010, this other amazing event happened to me, because I met a lady, right, that was actually interested in me. And I kind of thought, why would someone be interested in me? You know, and well, you know, it's history now, but we've been married now for 6 years, nearly 7 years. And I have to say that she's been my rock, you know, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved without her, but it's been a big help, I tell you, it really has. So for me, I honour my body. I think about what I'm consuming and what I'm about to put in there. And when I do, and this is a real important one, I think, I listen to my body and feel how what I've just consumed is affecting me, you know. I exercise, and I know that it's really difficult for people who have got mobility issues. I really understand that. But the thing that I would say to anybody is, do what you can do. Don't think about what you can't. Do what you can.
So,
you know?
So Chris, when you was at one point, because you were really quite debilitated by the MS, and when you were out, about 75% of the time you were using your wheelchair, and the rest of the time maybe using a stick. And in the house, you had to, you know, hold on to furniture and the wall to get around. So at that stage, how were you incorporating physical activity and exercise into your daily routine?
Okay. So like I said, I did what I could. Okay. But I also believe, I mean, I don't know whether anyone's heard of this neuroplasticity. So what I used to do, I would actually imagine and see myself doing the movement that I wanted to do, and I'll think about it and think about it and think about it. I was also lucky enough to be able to access physiotherapy, a physiotherapist who has become a very good friend of mine, has been involved in this journey with me. And I think for people with chronic conditions, physiotherapy on a regular basis is an absolute essential. I really do mean that. But for me, exercise was and always will be what I can do. You know, in the beginning, it was wiggling my toes and maybe raising and trying to tap my foot to music, you know. Now, and I was in the gym this morning, it's squatting, you know, I don't know, 20 kilos. do you see what I mean? It's a progressive thing, but we should all try and move and do what we can do, and not think about and focus on what we can't.
That's great. Focus on what you can do.
Yes.
And just to go back a little bit, when you were told about the secondary progressive MS, and that you would likely be wheelchair bound by 2012, and with the suicide attempt, all of that together, it seemed like you didn't have much, you weren't given much hope from your healthcare team, yet you started researching for yourself what you could do. So what motivated you or gave you that hope to go and look for alternatives?
I think basically in my belief system, if you like, and I think that's something that everyone needs to look at. I do have a belief of never giving up. Yeah, and it was, you know, for whatever reason in my childhood, if you like, it was a really hard message that I got in the beginning, but it was don't ever give up, you know. And I wasn't scared of being in a wheelchair. In fact, it's not a bad view of the world, really. It's just not what I wanted. And I mean, it's taken me a long time. I mean, none of this has happened overnight. I mean, I'll give you a for instance. So I would go and see my neurologist on my yearly appointment, yeah, if you like. And I don't know what the hospitals are like around where you are, but at my local hospital, they always put the surgeries for the people with broken limbs and walking impairments in the furthest surgery away from the car park. Yeah. So I would always rock up and see my neurologist in my wheelchair, you know, and he would see me, yeah, nice enough fella, you know, okay, he'd say, like, how are you? Yeah, I'm okay, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's nothing new, see you in a year. And off I go. Yeah. It come to 2017 and I've been working really hard and on myself. Yeah. And I've been exercising, I've been studying walking, and I've been crawling around the house because I thought, oh, I've got to learn how to walk again. How do babies do it? So I was crawling and doing stuff like that. And the last time I saw my neurologist, I walked into his surgery, and that was 2017. And he looked at me and he went, what drugs have I put you on? What drugs is it? And I went, well, I'm not on any drugs. Am I, doctor? You said there was nothing you could give me. And he went, you look like you're getting better. What are you doing? And I told him. I haven't seen him since. I haven't seen him since.
And what was his response when you told him what you did?
He dismissed it. He dismissed it. And I've got nothing against the man. I think the man's a really nice bloke. Yeah. But unfortunately, to have a blinkered view of medicine, if you like, that pharmaceuticals are the only choice is wrong. Mm-hmm. I see my MS nurses. In fact, I'm seeing them next week, and they document what I'm doing, but I don't see him.
And are the nurses taking more of an interest in what you've been doing to take control of your health?
Yes, they do. They document it. They send regular updates to my GP. Yeah, they're interested. Sometimes they invite me to different events as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were telling your neurologist the things that you were doing to get better, and we touched on diet, and in terms of the physical activity, doing what you can and not focusing on what you cannot do. You also touched on relationships. So you have a great relationship with your children and with your wife. You found love, and that really supported you in your journey. You also talked about substances like alcohol. You gave that up. Did you ever smoke at all?
I did, yeah, I did. But I'd given up smoking long before I got diagnosed with MS. But yes, I smoked, I drank. I mean, well, look, I was in the licensed trade. I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to be honest with you, it's an unhealthy relationship that has stuck with me for a long time, because wrongly I associated alcohol with relaxation. So I would, although I didn't used to drink that much, I would still have a drink every day. Associating it with relaxating and, relaxation, bang. But Boxing Day, last Christmas Boxing Day, I said to Joy, you know what, Joy? I'm going to stop drinking. We're not going to have a drink today. And she went, no, nor am I. And we ain't had a drink since. And I've got to tell you, it has propelled me to a higher level. I mean, I thought I was doing well, but it's propelled me to a higher level of wellness, if you like. Really good decision that was for me.
Was it hard?
It was interesting. I'm not going to say it was hard, no. I'm going to say it was interesting. It was interesting because, I mean, I have said that. Well, I don't know if I've said that I'm a hypnotherapist, if you like, and like a mindset coach, and I kind of work with people on their beliefs and their traumas and stuff like that. And it is literally a thought that will come into your head that you've either got to say no or yes to, isn't it? And that's what I've done. I mean, it's easy now. Yeah, it wasn't easy at the beginning because I was still missing that I'm going to relax. But I used to think, well, no, actually, you can relax in a different way. Yeah.
And I suppose with the support and the companionship from Joy, you doing it together, giving it up together, made it a bit easier.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, we are definitely on this journey together. She doesn't agree with everything I do. I mean, I do a body scan meditation every day. She thinks that's a bit woo woo, but it works for me.
And is the meditation part of how you're managing your emotional well-being, which is another pillar of lifestyle medicine?
Yes. Yeah, and I would say probably it was one of the first things I introduced into my lifestyle right at the very beginning. I learned how to body scan, really.
So tell us about body scan.
Okay, so the way I do it now, I mean, I just breathe. I get into a relaxed state.
Should we all do it together? Are you able to? Do you feel comfortable maybe leading us through
if you want to? Yeah, we can. Well, how long have we got? Well, we've got a few minutes, haven't we? We can do that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd ask you all to do is get yourself into a nice, comfortable position. I mean, obviously, laying down is best, but if you could get yourself into a comfortable position and just close your eyes and just accept that at this moment in time, we're just going to have a little bit of time for ourselves, and we're going to look at ourselves, okay? And what I want you to do, I want you to breathe in nicely through your nose, expand your lungs, and then breathe out through your mouth. Continue to breathe in, nice deep breaths, and with each out breath, you're just feeling yourself relax just a little bit more. Just relax on that breath. And if you get any thoughts come into your head, don't worry about it. Just come back and focus on the breath. We can deal with all of those thoughts later. But right here, right now, this is your time to relax. So hopefully we're starting to relax. And I want you to take your focus, your mind's eye, down to your feet. Feel how they're being supported. Just wiggle your toes a little bit. Just feel where they're touching the floor or the soles of your shoes. Just feel what it feels like. And if there's any tightness in that area, just allow that tightness to relax on your out breath. Just allow it to go. Bring your focus up to your ankles now. And as we move up, just feel that part of your body. Feel if there's any tightness in your calves. And again, you know what to do. If you feel it and you find it, just give your body permission to relax on that out breath. This is your time. We keep breathing. And we bring our focus up to our upper limbs. Just explore how they feel. And like I say, if you find any tightness or pain, just allow it to relax on that out breath. So now can we bring our focus to our glutes, our bottoms, for those that don't know, and our lower back. And we often have pain and stiffness in our lower back. Feel it. You can name it. It could be a colour that you can see. And if it is a colour, that tightness, with each out breath, just allow it to relax and disappear out of your body. Now I'd like you to take your mind's eye up each disc of your spine. And again, we often have little niggles and pains that radiate out via the spine. But we can be in control of this, and we can manage that pain by focusing on it and allowing it to disappear on that out breath. You're removing it from your body on that breath. Now we're coming up to our shoulders. Feel how they are feeling. You might feel that they might just drop down. Often we hold our shoulders up towards our ears. Just allow them to drop. And if there's any tightness or pain, we can allow that to relax and disappear on our out breath. Now come up your neck and into your cheeks and the area around your ears and to the top of your head. Nice deep breath in. Breathe out. And all of the tension just blows away on that breath. And in a moment, we will bring this experience to a successful conclusion. And if you choose to do it again, and you can, anytime you like, it will be 10 times more successful, 10 times more powerful for you. So as I count down from 10 to 0, we'll be coming back into the room. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you very much, Chris. That was really relaxing. I think we forgot what our job is, Erica, isn't it?
Sorry?
It was so relaxing. I think we forgot what our job is here today.
For me, it definitely allowed me to just be focused on that body part and not worry about past, future, and just be with the present. And what has it done for you, Chris, in terms of your emotional well-being and the depression and anxiety?
For me, I mean, it's given me clarity. It's an amazing thing. I mean, obviously, we've done this really, really quick. But actually, to take time just to be still. And in a way, it's paying attention to the present on purpose is a really calming thing. And I think that if you've got a problem, it's a great way of finding that solution, because believe me, you've got the solution inside yourself. It's just all the fuzz and the haze and everything else that's going on that gets in the way. And people think they can't meditate. Everyone can meditate. Right? Honestly, everyone can meditate. It's only you that's telling yourself you can't. Yeah.
We often get in our own way with regards to a lot of different things, not just in this.
Absolutely. I mean, fundamentally, and again, like I say, I honour and revere our health professionals, and I really mean that, and I do, you know. But we believe that we can't heal ourselves, and we can, you know. And it's a message that's given to us, you know, via all manner of things. But we as human beings have a lot more power over our health and well-being than we're led to believe. Yeah.
And you are the example, Chris, and the walking, talking, breathing example that it is possible to address our lifestyle. But I want to also highlight how our patients are also not at fault for not taking charge, because unfortunately in our current Western medicine, as we practice it in a very hectic, stressful system that we are offered, plus the Western lifestyle, the combination of the two doesn't actually allow us to slow down enough to recognize that we are chasing our own tails very often. And I think that's very often when we have a tragic event in our lives, and unfortunately in your case, it had to come to a point where you felt suicidal. And so many people get to that point, and either they end up turning it around or actually slipping down. And I think this is the hope, the message that we would like to share here, that if you are there in your life, please reach out to your family and friends and ask them for help. Ask them with the straight words that cannot be misunderstood to say, I need you in my life. And as we share the message of love and compassion today, and always hopefully here in Afternoon Tea, we would love to kind of give you the opportunity, the safe space right now today, that if you're suffering, struggling with anything in life, remember that there's always somebody in your life who loves you, but maybe they just don't know what you're going through. So it's important to reach out and offer the kind of opportunity for them to come and help you. So I think that's what happened with you as well, Chris. Your environment has offered that, but it did take you the first step to ask for that help.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everybody who has joined us today. I would love to ask Erica, do you think there's anything else we would like to ask from Chris before we go off to our Zoom session where we are having a private little chat with Chris?
No, but just to add, the final pillar in lifestyle medicine was sleep. And Chris mentioned that he sleeps really well, and sleep is incredibly important because our body does a lot of its healing during our sleep, and a lot of repair and healing during our sleep. So sleep is incredibly important for anyone.
Very important, sleep.
Did you have problems with sleep before?
Yeah.
And how
Definitely.
did you overcome that? How have you gone from that to now sleeping really well?
I think really clearing my mind, if you like, but the last, and I can't tell you what an amazing effect giving up alcohol completely has had on me. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but still was like having that drink, not lots, but just absolutely cutting it. My God, I sleep like I'm dead now. I really do. I go, but I live a life now that I'm happy with. I'm lucky. But I've got all my ducks in a row now, and I've got all my ducks in a row, so I'm all right.
Chris, this is such an important message, and Erica, thank you for remembering one of the most important pillars that really does affect our mental health, and also how we eat, what we eat, our stress hormones. But linking this with alcohol, I would love to take the opportunity to again stress that a lot of us often come home from work thinking that we are stressed out. So what would be like something relaxing? And unfortunately, current culture kind of mandates that we drink alcohol to relax, and if we are depressed, to drink something that kind of picks us up, but actually does the opposite. Alcohol is a depressant, and while we drink it often when we feel kind of in a depressive mood, we add to that depression with alcohol. We prevent ourselves from sleeping better, because not only is it a depressant, also it stops us from sleeping well. It actually attacks our sleep architecture by breaking it down in the liver, which wakes you up in the middle of the night. So it actually does exactly the opposite that we would hope it would do. So there is something to think about when we are drinking that one glass of wine or two glasses. And through the pandemic, people actually really upped it, so much so that in A&E we have had huge attendances due to alcohol problems. So it's great that you have brought it up, and would love to kind of take this opportunity to ask yourself, do you really need that one glass of wine at night? Is it going to really improve your life so much so? Or is it something that you're doing culturally? Or maybe you don't even want to do it. And very often when we do ask our patients, right, Erica, they do say that they don't even know why they're drinking it. And so it's very important to ask, do you really want it? And if you don't, well, maybe ask your partner to drink something more healthy at night that does support your health and does support your sleep and does result in a better, healthy lifestyle.
May I just say something before we go? Because I've just seen a little message come up on the screen from one of my children who's looking after my granddaughter Polly.
Yeah.
I love you too, Polly. I really do, and I love you all. I love you all, but I love you especially, Polly. All right.
Thank you so much, Polly, for joining us, and thank you for supporting Chris through this incredible journey. It's such a heartfelt moment to see the family come together and this community supporting each other. This is literally why we actually live for here on Afternoon Tea, and why we come every single Sunday to see such a human bond and connection, which we have seen over and over and over to be the medicine, the healing cure, really. And when we do talk about love is medicine, they do think we are a little bit hippies or crazy a bit. But the truth is, how can we heal if we don't have love for ourselves and if we don't have anybody in our lives who love us? So thank you so much for sharing this love and this beautiful emotion here. We are so honored, Chris, for your presence and for sharing your journey.
It all starts with love for self. It all starts there, because if you don't have love for self, how can you have any love for anybody else?
And on that note, sharing all the love with everyone who has joined us today here on YouTube. If you loved this session, please click the subscribe button so that you can support us in this work and share this incredible message with everybody you love and you care for. And if you haven't seen us yet on social media, we are also on Instagram, Facebook, and we are here every single Sunday at 5 p.m. UK time, bringing you doctors and incredibly inspiring patients to share the lifestyle message. So please say hello wherever you can, however you want. We would love to hear from you. And for those who have joined us here on Zoom, we are going to go off on a quick but very meaningful 30-minute discussion with Chris so that you can ask your burning questions and have a little personal chat. So thank you for joining us. See you later.
Hi.